This is MJ. Welcome to King of Hearts, Queen of Sorrows, episode 33, where I'm going to be talking about G Gundam, episode 33. I don't remember the actual title of the episode, but the basic thing that happens in the episode is that Noble Chapman is back from the grave to win the championship, and he's been stacking up wins, and the next person to fight him is George Jason. Now, if you remember from way back when, George was defeated by him, barely, through cheating, and Domunkashu came along, and he ended up fighting and defeating Noble Chapman, who it turned out, he was cheating, and so his wife, Manon, was helping him cheat. Anyway, it was very dramatic and very cool, but all of a sudden he's back, and we don't really have any clarification on that. He was supposed to have been disqualified, just like Michelob Chariot, and this episode basically has the fight between them, and I gotta say, this episode wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. It revealed the fact that he is a, deeply connected to the Dark Gundam, which we already knew as the audience, but now they know, because while they were fighting in person, him and Domun, it was discovered that it was him and George, and Domun was just kind of there. Domun, Rain, and Allenby were there for backup, sort of. It was discovered that he had all the the DG cells on him, and George remarked that his performance had increased. He was faster and stronger and stuff, and he punched a hole in a wall, I think, or something close to that. I think he may have done a sweep kick over Domun's head or George's head, and took bricks out of the wall. So that's pretty darn strong. And we know these martial artists in G Gundam are ridiculously strong, but I guess it's just even more over the top kind of display of the human strength of a martial artist. Which, gosh, that makes me want to get off on a tangent about new types, which is something I'm so unfamiliar with the broader spectrum of Gundam, because most of it, honestly, I've tried watching other Gundams and they don't really appeal to me, which I can get into that later. Maybe if I have a show where I just talk about anime and I try anime and try them out, or test them out and sample different shows, different genres, and discuss that could be interesting. Well, anyway, I'm still in the thick of discussing all these G Gundam things, so I need to finish this first before I can do a project like that. So just kind of put that off till later. But anyway, the point is, I don't have anything to grab onto in this episode. There's one thing I want to talk about at the end, which is about the royal family. They're not the Descents. Whatever Marie Louise is her name Marie Louise, like Peggy Sue? That's what I think it is, because Louise probably isn't their last name. But anyway, I wasn't too thrilled. There was cool stuff in this episode, and I had to watch it in a 15-minute segment and a 7 or 8 minute segment, so maybe that ruined the momentum of it for me. But probably the strongest thing or most interesting thing I can say about this episode was that I enjoyed the presentation of George's chivalry and his knighthood, because basically the moral challenge in the episode is that Michelob has broken into the control tower or whatever that has all the settings for the dome, the barrier that protects the public from the what's going on inside the Gundam fight ring. There are several, and this happens to be the one for the one that Noble or Chapman and George are fighting in. And anyway, so Michelob's in there, and he is actually with the guy who's pretty high up, maybe even the Prime Minister of England, and it's wow, they're really, really dirty cheaters, which is terrible. But anyway, like I was saying, the moral challenge is that George has to basically endure a beating, weaken his Gundam, while he's protecting the barrierless section right in front of the royal family, his underage love, Marie Louise, and her father, his king, who he has sworn fealty to because he's a knight of France. And I enjoyed that. That was a really cool bit, but the fight between them, I don't think it was that great. There's every now and then, I don't know if it's because he's French or because They just chose to use him as the character who gets to be more vulnerable. But like George is screaming, and like there's this really weird shaky cam thing that they do over his face as he's screaming. Like the voice actor was putting in the work, you know, to really sell it. While I think it was when John Bull Gundam or Royal Gundam, whatever, had transformed into the alternate thing, which it really bugs me in shows when they do not tell you the names of the alternate things. I don't want to harp on that for too long because I've probably said that before. It's a little funny in anime, like in a first couple episodes when you meet characters, and they'll do it in tokusatsu too sometimes, and even in live action shows. Actually, Burn Notice probably did the best of all because they would do funny alternate titles for people. But like where it freezes or just the blocking of the scene hovers over the person long enough to put text under them and it says their name or title or whatever. And I like that because it's fake, guys. It's fake. It's okay to let us know, let the audience know who these characters are, so we don't have to just vaguely call people, you know, strange names. Like I can't call the French King anything because I don't know his name, but anyway, doesn't matter. So yeah, I don't really have anything too profound to say about this. Like it's kind of nice that it's becoming more evident the involvement of the Dark Gundam and that Wong is an actual bad dude, and that's what I'll talk about the royal family with real quick. So while Chapman was killing the one guy, Williams, I think, or something William, who wanted to like tell about the cheating and who wasn't happy with what was going on with Neo England, the guy with honor, Wong was in the background. He was like behind a partition in this weird little hut that they were in. There was a really weird space. Anyway, it was like a gazebo. I don't know what it was. Anyway, doesn't matter. But Wong was there, and Marie Louise saw his ring and recognized it when he was there at the end of the episode. Him and Master Asia congratulating George on winning, but I think it was anyway. They're trying to question what's going on, and he's like, "Oh, let's let George rest." And he raises his hand, and you can see this really cool ring that he has. It's like a serpent's eye, dragon's eye, something like that. And anyway, she realizes that it's him, and then she and George and her father are down like in their ship, in their yacht or whatever, in the bottom of it, in the dark, talking secretly, quietly about the fact that Wong is deeply involved, or is definitely corrupt and probably involved with the Dark Gundam. And what I really liked about the bit was that it showed like the corrupting nature of power, because the king is so scared to stand up to Wong, who is the ruler of all, you know, manned space at this point, that he won't say anything, even though he knows that Wong was involved with the murder of a British official, a British citizen, and like that's something that that Neo England should be concerned about. But because he's afraid that they'll be thrown out, and he thinks George has a chance to win the championship and that Neo France has a chance to take over rulership of space. Either he's evil and wants to seize that power for himself, or he's a good, noble man and he's doing the wrong thing by not telling anybody, you know, this evidence that they have, in order to do the right thing, which is potentially win the tournament, gain the crown, or, you know, the right to rule space, and see that at that time then Wong is prosecuted and dealt with and whatever. And it's interesting because it's kind of a moral conundrum. And I know I brought up a moral struggle earlier, but I think this one, it's more intriguing, it's more interesting than the one with George, you know, shielding you know, the royals at his own expense. But then again, it's not as exciting to look at because it's just this quiet little dark scene. And I don't know. Anyway, one last thing. Marie Louise, she needs to be involved more because she adds a lot of flavor, a lot of spunk. The dub actress, her voice is so girlish and high and I guess cute. I don't know. They say men are supposed to be attracted to more high-pitched voices, but I don't find that to be the case for me anyway. It's just... she's like such a wild card. And I think it's because she's a princess and she's privileged and she, you know, isn't... vulnerable, or she doesn't suffer from the same things other people do, you know, commoners for the large part, that she just adds such a different flavor, and she's kind of a very wild, outlandish figure where it's nice how much she is in contrast to George, who is refined and like managed and not withdrawn. He's not even cold, but he always keeps up a level of respectability because he's a knight and he believes in honor and such. And it's fun that you get to see the other side with her. And I think it's a fun pairing. I like it. That's pretty much all I have to say about this episode. I'm looking forward to the next one. MJMunoz.com is home for all my work. Podcasts and reviews of anime, tokusatsu, Star Wars, and more. Plus my original writings. If you didn't enjoy this, critique me. If you did, leave me a comment. If you really like this, consider tipping me at coffee.com/MJMunoz. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Until next time, be well.